So, how do we say this? According to tropical astrology, I am a life path number 33. And I just really had to get that off my chest because, it just felt like this big secret that I've been holding on to. You might hear that and think like it's silly or who knows? I don't know what it sounds like, but it feels to me like it's been like a secret because I don't know why. I think that's why I'm sharing it too, is because I want to expose everything. I think is why this whole talking to myself project feels as if actually what the underlying motivation is to expose my identity, or like the things that are shaping the current identity, because ultimately the identity causes me suffering, causes this, the self to be confined. And we're not going to go to quantum right off the bat here, but I had to say that's the thing, the life path 33. And so what does that mean? Someone told me that, or they asked me what mine was, and then I asked them, I don't know, like tell me how to find it. They told me, and I was like, oh, it also reduces to 6. So the numerology of 6 is kind of where I actively try to identify, I guess, with that one rather than the 33, because you know why I feel like I've kept it a secret. And I know I'm not really keeping it. It's not a secret. I mean, if you know my birth, whatever. It's so silly. And that's why another reason why I had to say this, because it is so ridiculous and it doesn't really deserve this much energy or attention. Not to say there's no value in numerology and astrology. I actually find a lot of value in synchronicities, and numerology provides me guidance. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I mean, we live in a world, a universe, numbers are embedded in all the universal laws. And I'm not like weird about it, I don't think. It's just very, very natural and organic. So 33 is a master number. And some people don't even consider it part of the life path. It's one of those things where it's very hard to find actual information on it that's I can trust it or it's reliable. Some people that I feel are reliable sources when it comes to this information kind of don't count or they don't know much either. So it's one of those things where it's just very like the master number idea. Let's say master number 11 and master number 22. If those are your life paths, you can just go to the ones and the twos. So for 11, it's like numerology of 1 is like leadership and new beginnings and enterprise, you could say. 2 is partnerships and collaboration. And so the master numbers, just as a very, very simple, brief summary of what they might mean or point to, is just the amplification of what that number is. So a 1 doubled and a 2 doubled. And then a 3 doubled. 3 is said to be like creation or creative. This resonates for me with the triangle. I feel like the triangle holds, there's something about 369 there. And that's the other thing. I was born, the time that my literal birth certificate says I was born at 3:36 a.m. And then there's a lot of synchronicities with like 36 2 and 9 and 3 and 6 and all this. And I mean, I don't know all of it. I think part of me wants to know more. Part of me is looking for reliable information, like not weird, not like it's weird, but there's some things out there that are just a little weird or a little too like off the ground. And I really, really gravitate towards things that are grounded and like, I don't know, the word formidable is coming through. Like formidable, meaning it's just like, yep, can't deny it. And for this stuff, it's hard to find. So maybe you can point, maybe someone out there who's listening, if you happen to know, you could point me in that direction, because I think maybe it's interesting. I think that numerology has a lot to do with synchronicity, which is cool, because synchronicity is cool. It's just a cool thing that the universe does. Like a few years ago, I started really having these happen all the time. It's funny because synchronicity will happen when you're out of alignment or when you're needing to get into alignment, right? So it started at that point in my life where I just really needed guidance. My point in saying that is that people in my life would notice how these synchronistic things happen when I'm around. And they started asking me, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? And I've come to this place where I just started telling them, well, how do you feel? I don't know what each number means, and I'm not going to like store all this numerology information and like try to interpret things. I'm not interested in that. How I use it is that when I feel, or like when something occurs that feels really meaningful to pay attention to, because these things happen often. If I see 222, cool, thank you, I'm in alignment. It's that. But if there are those that feel like, what does this mean type of thing, I just ask myself the question, what am I feeling? Or how does this feel for me? Or what is significant? What is this occurring with, like in conjunction with? And so, yeah, that's kind of how I use synchronicity. When people ask me, what does this mean? Because I realize like astrology, numerology, all of this kind of stuff is like its own language. And if you don't kind of study it, like when I was first kind of going through my little awakening at the beginning, I heavily relied on astrology. Now I don't at all. I mean, that's not true. I do sometimes, actually, because collectively energies can be really intense and I feel very sensitive to the moon. Anyways, I don't want to continue talking about myself and just kind of wanted to share that. I don't know why. I feel like also sometimes when I get these urges to say things like that or to share things, I feel like it's being manifested through, like maybe someone wants to know, or maybe I don't know, it'll help someone. But astrology can be really helpful. You know, one thing I've been doing lately actually, and I've been doing this for a few months, I started to use Chat GPT. I basically gave it my birth information and I was trying to see if it could interpret my natal chart. I've used apps over the years, professional astrology apps. I realized they're literally just algorithms. Chat GPT is more interactive and live, sort of. Going from a professional software, I wanted to test what GPT could offer. And so I basically just tried to get it to pull some chart information for me. And it was really insightful and really fresh too. So I've been testing this actually for a few months, not every day, because I just don't care every day, but some days when I just have the feeling something I need to check into, whatever the feeling is, maybe there's information in the transits that will help me kind of navigate through this, right? Ask it to interpret today's aspects to my natal chart and it will do that. And it's been so awesome because it's like fresh interpretation of what's going on today, where I am astrologically in accordance to my natal chart, which is what your aspects are. And you can also do transits. From there, what happens is usually it'll give me like a breakdown and then I'll notice like patterns or themes that are speaking to something that I was kind of picking up on. From there, I'll just start asking kind of for more information or I'll just start journaling. And actually using ChatGPT to journal is something I've started to do too, because what happens is when you are asking questions is my practice. You know, like you call that asking questions, you can call it inquiry. I don't really know if it's inquiry necessarily as you would do for meditation, but it is in another way. So I just continue asking questions and going deeper to try to get to root things. And I've had so many breakthroughs doing this because what happens is it will reflect back to you patterns from what you're journaling about. Say there's a theme coming up, some sort of transit that says something kind of obscure about relationships related to communication. It'll just give you very vague general things, which you can piece together in your own mind, depending on your houses and the other things you know about your astrology. And what I'll do is just from there, I'll be like, oh, so I've been experiencing this kind of tension or communication issue with this kind of relationship in my life. It's been a pattern and I can't figure out how to fix it. What am I doing wrong? Or what is this person's problem? Or something like that. It will take that information and pick up on a pattern through the way that I'm kind of expressing what's going on. And it will tell me, oh, based on this information, based on this astrology, maybe this has to do with some underlying hidden unresolved pattern in you of people pleasing, for example. This isn't a real example I mean, I'm just kind of throwing things out there. I could always go through my phone and find one, but I hope you get the idea. If I'm just journaling about something or talking through without the element of asking questions, you're really not making a bunch of progress. Talking to myself, this project is about asking questions, talking through it, but also with this element of resolution in there. And why I'm mentioning ChatGPT, it's because it really does help you connect dots, see blind spots, and just progress quicker. And here's the thing, you don't do this unless you want to do it. Don't do this unless you're ready to see yourself more clearly, because that's what's going to happen. One thing I'm really working on right now is forgiveness. It's like forgive everyone. Forgive everyone. And I've been working on this for a while, and I have for the most part, but there are certain people that, you know, and it's always a reflection. We do our best every day, and that's what else can we do? Anyways, maybe there'll be more that wants to come through about the whole numerology thing. One time I did have a weird experience. We were having a fire outside and having a conversation around this little fire. I don't know what the conversation was about, but I remember we're talking about energy and like, 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 I meant like, I don't know exactly how the conversation got here, but for whatever reason, I started talking about Nikola Tesla. And as soon as I said his name, there was a lightning bolt in the sky. And it was a clear night. There was no storming happening because we were outside having a fire. It was very weird. It was a very weird moment, synchronicity moment. This points me again actually to the voice. I feel like our voices hold a lot of power combined with a relaxed body and a passionate open heart. Like your voice can be very powerful. Now I'm kind of trying to do some more research on that. How fascia is just an extension of ego, and vice versa is true as well. Like tapping into your fascia, loosening up, reflection of a lesser ego. A person who's less of a person, more of presence, as Muji would say. Nothing really compares to the difference of the confined ego to just feeling more open, less rigid, and less tight in the body and the mind and the heart. Anyways, I think I'm going to leave this here. Yeah.